Sruti Puranana Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Sadasiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Varyantam Vande Guru Parambaram. I think the point I have to continue is with Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha. We were making some detour from time to time to answer some questions. I said that according to the Nyaya school, we have the classification of perception, laukika and alaukika, ordinary and extraordinary. Then we have the distinction between nirvikalpaka and savikalpaka perception. Most of the schools accept nirvikalpaka pratyaksha. Nirvikalpaka to be contrasted with savikalpaka. Literally, the word means nirvikalpaka, vikalpa rahita pratyaksha. If it is with vikalpa, then savikalpaka. Vikalpa means distinctions, differentiation, marking the distinguishing features. Now, we will have the Nyaya school as a standard, by means of which we can look at the other schools. The Nyaya Vaisesika school holds the view that whenever we see any object from a distance to start with, we become aware of the object. And this awareness of an object will not be able to give us the distinguishing features in their proper relation, in their proper setting. Even in the initial awareness, we may notice some features. We don't see a totally featureless object, characteristic-less object, no. But we are not able to distinguish the one from the other. We are not able to know the relation between one aspect and another aspect. Therefore, it is said to be a kind of a vague awareness, not an entity as a whole, having some features. That state of perception is what is called nirvikalpaka by the pratyaksha. So, all the features that we notice in them, although noted, they are not noted in their mutual relations with each other or with one another. So, the Nyayika says that nirvikalpaka pratyaksha is a kind of a perception in which the relations are not seen, relations among the various features of the object. So, I just put it as non-relational initial perception. Non-relational initial perception. It's a vague awareness. Even psychologists talk about this kind of an awareness of an object to start with. Now, it is only subsequently when we go close together, close to the object, notice the object very carefully, we can see the distinctions. So it is from the non-relational perception we move on to relational perception. Then it is called savikalpaka pratyaksha. Now at this stage, when we remain the initial stage, when we have not noticed the distinguishing features, we will not be able to make any statement at all. When can we make a statement about an object? If we are sure about what it is. If I know that the leaves are green, I can say the leaves are green. I make a specific statement. The tree is a tall one with many branches. Then I notice the distinctions, the tallness of the tree with many branches, the color of the leaves. I can make a judgment. Judgment is a statement, that is all. It has nothing to do with regard to the court judgment. A specific statement that you make in which you say something about something else is called a judgment. I say rose is red. You can just say it's a statement. We don't just say a sentence. When you make a specific affirmation of something redness, of something else rose, you relate these two as subject and predicate. Redness is predicated of rose, or redness may be, whiteness may be denied of rose. When you are able to make such a statement, this statement is called in logic as judgment, we say. You can even just say a statement, there is nothing wrong. Much more specific than a sentence, because we do some purpose with regard to analysis, we say it is a statement. We say that somebody has made a statement, questionable statement. We don't say somebody has made a sentence. We don't say that one. So the sentence is the basis of the structure, undoubtedly. So, during the Nirvikalpaka stage, we will not be able to make any judgment. Therefore, it belongs to the pre-judgment state. Pre-judgment state. Why? Because we can't make a statement and say what is what, this is what. Generally in logic, in Western philosophy, we say that there are two things in our acquisition of knowledge. There is something and we know what it is that. Therefore, we talk about the thisness and whatness of a thing. You first notice that this is something or that is something. And you also say what it is. What it is. So, the thisness and the whatness of a given object. If that is specifically known, the two features are specifically known, then we can make a judgment, but not at the Nirvikalpaka stage. So it is a pre-judgment, it belongs to the pre-judgment condition. It is only when you make a statement, you can say whether it is true or false. This again we call it as truth value of a statement, truth value of a given statement. You say it is true, you say it is false. We don't entertain the third alternate in the present case, you just have it like that. We don't say it is doubtful. We can say that way. Nothing wrong. So, it is possible for us to, which is not possible for us to speak about no truth value here. We cannot speak about the truth value here, whether it is true or false. And how do you know this non-relational stage of perception? You can say that so many things else about that. It is not the case that in perception there is a clear demarcation between nirvikalpaka and savikalpaka. I am now in the state of nirvikalpaka, standing before the tree. I can't say I am in the state of nirvikalpaka. Then I come to the state of savikalpaka. No. The Nyaya says, almost we don't have direct access to nirvikalpaka. It is only from savikalpaka we have to infer that earlier there must have been a state called nirvikalpaka. We must have gone through that one, though we did not have direct access to it, because the moment I hear a sound, immediately I begin to identify and say, oh, this is the sound made by the generator. This is the sound made by the fan or something else. Not that you stop at nirvikalpaka stage and then move on to savikalpaka. That is not the case. We can take it that we don't have direct access to nirvikalpaka. It is only from savikalpaka we have to infer that this stage of perception must have passed through an initial stage in which the features which I am speaking about, having relation and all that one, must have been there, must have remained unnoticed by me. So they say that from savikalpaka we infer the nirvikalpaka state. It is through inference. Through inference. That we could say that earlier there must have been a state called nirvikalpaka. Now we have come to that one. And therefore the transition is from nirvikalpaka to savikalpaka. This is what the Nyaya claims.
So, can we say that this nirvikalpa-siddhi is a trigger for savikalpa? And we vaguely perceive something and then our mind starts working and start finding out the details, and that's why it becomes.
Certainly we can say that one. What is this? Some object which seems to be there before me. That from a vague awareness, that is a vague awareness, not that you are not noticed. But all the features that you are talking about at the nirvikalpaka state should have been there. Not that all of a sudden they have come there, but they have remained unnoticed. Had you noticed, it is not nirvikalpaka. The moment you notice, that's why I say that one is very difficult. The moment that there is something vague, we begin to interpret. So, in psychology, they say there is such a thing called mere sensation. And the state of sensation doesn't deserve to be called a knowledge state. A knowledge state. You can't say that one. Mere sensation. But if the same sensation is interpreted by the person concerned, then it becomes what you call a kind of a perception. So here there is a sensation. That's why they say that sensation plus meaning or interpretation puts you in a state of knowledge. Not mere sensation. Sensation plus interpretation will give you meaning, what it is like. You can express yourself in the form of judgment. Say something is something else, something is the case. You can have a statement by predicating something of something else, either affirmatively or negatively. Yes is P or yes is not P.
When we get up in the morning, at that we from the dead sleep, then we don't have the exact awareness of the time or space, and then slowly it comes. Then do you think that is the way to process?
You can say that. You can say that. You're not sure what it is like, and then sometimes I have a feeling here in the new room And where is the door? Exit door. Even though I have been there for 4 days or 5 days, even there earlier I have been there. As you get up, sometimes there is that vagueness is there. More so, I have to be very careful. I will look for a nearby wall as soon as I get up when I have to go to the bathroom in the night. I want to make sure that I have a hold. My bed is such that, because I know the problem. Many people have that vagueness. You are not able to say what is what. Kunja, it takes a few minutes for you to recover. Oh, I am Usha here and I am here and attending the course and all that one. There is a roommate, and then when I go out, I should not just put a padlock and go out. Exercising your Sudantra. It has taken place. I think both of them, Usha and her roommate, both of them. Now, the point I just want you to remember is that the Nyaya can make a mountain out of a mole. And he aims at precision. Sometimes he serves as a model for others. He is a model for others. Every darshanika should be familiar with the Nyaya discipline and the grammatical discipline. If need be, Mimamsa. They are common darshanas. The training should be given by the Nyayika, no doubt about that. Otherwise, your thinking will be chaotic. In spite of all that, we have difficulties. We are unhappy with an Nyayika who gets into not even ordinary logical language, but a special type of language, Visheshanatha, Visheshyatha. Finally, it comes to a simple thing which we say. But he wants to formulate it with such precision. And all the philosophical systems developed the language of the Navya Nyaya. Otherwise, you can't engage in debate and all that. Now, a different picture is presented by the other schools which accept Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha, Savikalpaka Pratyaksha distinction. Just one or two. I will not go into much detail here. The Buddhists also talk about Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha. And I told you in one context, they talk about what is called the unique particular, Swalakshana, unique particular. Why do they talk about the unique particular? Because according to them, the theory of momentariness, the theory of Kshanikavada, the theory called Kshanikavada, momentariness, doctrine of momentariness, makes them hold that every object exists only for a moment. For a moment, kshana. Don't write movement. For a moment, for a kshana. For a kshanika. From that you got Kshanikavada. And then if it exists for a moment, what we will say is, yes, it may exist for a moment. Existence is one moment means origination must have taken place earlier. And origination should have taken one moment. So one moment for its origination, for its genesis. The next moment it exists. The third moment it passes away. So in the life history of a moment, even though say it exists only for a moment, The Buddhists forget the fact that the same moment it cannot originate, it cannot exist, it cannot destroy itself or disappear from itself. No. At least we require 3 moments. This is the criticism of the opponents of the Kshanikavada. At least concede that there are 3 moments in the life history of every moment. One moment, earlier one moment for its origination, one moment for its existence. It is at that time you say you see that one. The third moment it passes away. When it exists, when you see, then it is a unique particular. No other particular can be like that. It is a unique particular. There is the perception of that unique particular. They call it as the nirvikalpaka pratyaksha. Then what is savikalpaka pratyaksha? They don't accept it. They don't accept it, because to accept that one will go against this doctrine of momentariness, according to them. Supposing you talk about savikalpaka pratyaksha, then you will think about relation, you will think about concept, all kinds of rational thinking will arise. The concept of the very concept is a difficult thing. How do you form a concept? You form the concept of animality, the concept of rationality. You say all men are rational, all human beings are rational, all men are animals. We form various generalized concept and all that one, comparing one thing with another. There is the room for comparison when every object exists for a moment. Therefore, they call it as a unique particular. For that, the term that they use is swalakshana. Swalakshana. Don't go into the dictionary meaning. A unique particular is called by them as swalakshana. Swalakshana. Probably conveying the idea that its characteristic feature is revealed by it, that's all. Its lakshana is revealed by it, and it cannot be compared with anything else. Swalakshana. Then what about savikalpaka pratyaksha? It is a contribution made by our imagination, our kalpana. Any universalization, any universal concept, all that is our contribution by our imagination. There is no reality corresponding to that one. It is what it is at a momentary time, and it is something very peculiar, unique, particular. There is nothing comparable to that. The critics say, even to make such a statement is impossible for you. There is nothing which is comparable to that. You follow? There is. How do you say that this A, we call it, let us say for the sake of analysis, we call it A. This is the unique particular. You can say it is a particular. Even the emphasis, I would say unique is too much. We can use the word unique when we know that it is totally different from others. To say that it is different from something else, you should be able to compare. How do you do the comparison? It came, existed, passed away. You claim that you have perceived it, that's all. How can you say that it is different from another particular? If you have a chance to see both the particulars, comparison, you say what are the points of similarity, what are the points of difference. So there are very many difficulties the critics point out in accepting the doctrine of momentariness. And then they also, by the way I say that one, they have developed a theory of causality known as pratitya samutpada, dependent origination. Pratitya samutpada. A is dependent on B. B if it is cause. The A as an effect is dependent upon its cause, B. B in its turn is dependent upon C, its cause. So there is a series of causal entities. So the causal relation is a series coming one after another. You can't see the beginning, you can't see the end. It is a never-ending series. A series is a series. And they developed a theory of causality called the theory of dependent origination. Dependent origination. It originates, something originates by depending upon something else. You have a series. Now, T.H. Green asked the question, my master there in Oxford, T.H. Green, how do you talk about a series? He is criticizing Hume, David Hume. Hume says that the whole world consists of impressions and ideas. He came after Berkeley. Locke, a dualist, an empiricist. Then came Berkeley, a subjective idealist. Then came Hume, a skeptic, a thoroughgoing skeptic. We have no evidence for the existence of matter, Berkeley said. Locke accepted both mind and matter. Then Berkeley came. Of the two, I dispense with matter. What exists is only the mind and its ideas. He made some improvement. Purely on the basis of empiricism, based upon our sense evidence. Then came Hume. He said that you have done only a partial work. You have dispensed with matter by the same argument by which you dispensed with matter, I will also dispense with mind. So matter has gone, mind has gone, there is no dualism. What is it that is left out? Only impressions and ideas. Who are you? A bundle of impressions and ideas. Certainly a husband cannot tell that to his wife, you are a bundle of ideas, impressions and ideas, vice versa. The whole world consists of impressions and ideas. It's a kind of skepticism. Then somebody asked him, how will you manage to live? Would you be able to say that I am transacting daily business, not with human persons, not with things, only with bundles of impressions and ideas? Yes, that is what I have to say. And he even said, there is no guarantee that the sun will rise in the east tomorrow. Where is the guarantee? It is only something empirical. Every empirical event is contingent. You know, contingent, not necessary. It's not necessary that the sun tomorrow should rise in the east. It can as well rise in the west. Is there any guarantee? All empirical phenomena are contingent, are not necessary. Even cause-effect relation is not necessary. Then somebody said that his life is very difficult. How can he manage to live? When you want hot water, you look into the fire to make it, or a geyser to give you hot water. Otherwise, you go and then you get the hot water. You need. And you know the relation between heat and what heat can do. He says that faith is our guide of life. He gave us comfort for you. Remember that, have faith, but no certainty. That tomorrow this will happen the same way, there is no certainty. That is Hume. Now, T.H. Green, the Oxford idealist, I made a reference to him with regard to the twin capacities of the human being, will and reason. Jnana karma adhikara corresponding to that. He said, when he talked about this kind of a series of impressions and ideas, it's a series, he said. How do you talk about a series? He made a beautiful statement. A series can never be aware of itself as a series. A series can know itself as a series. Because you are in a queue. You are here. Somebody else is here. Where the queue starts, you don't know. Where it would end, you don't know. You are somewhere. All that you know is there are people before you, there are people behind you. And you can't leave the line. If you can leave the line, can occupy a vantage point of view, then you can have a view, at least a near total view of the series, the queue line, and say, oh, it is a big queue line. When you are caught up, I am a particular in this series. How can I talk about the series? A series can never be aware of itself as a series. There should be something else to witness that one. That something else cannot be a part of the series. Should be different from the series, functioning independently of the series. Such a thing is not prepared to admit. Now, we have the Buddhist here in the Indian context. The Indian Buddhist talks about the series of things, each existing only for a moment, and therefore the Buddhist talks about swalakshana, the unique particular. Even the adjective unique is inadmissible, strictly speaking. How can I say that I am unique? You are unique? It's only when I compare you with others. Totally different, you are unique. So they don't accept Savikalpaka Pratyaksha, only Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha, and in the Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha, all that you notice is only the unique particular Swalakshana, nothing else. And if you talk anything about class concept, universal, all that features, cause-effect relation, substance attribute relation, all that is your contribution, Kalpana. The Mimamsakas, I will refer to the Mimamsakas. I will come to that by them. The Mimamsakas do accept the distinction between Nirvikalpaka and Savikalpaka. They do admit the distinction. And when they talk about the Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha, they say that it is just like when we have this Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha of an object, it is just like the children having a plaything and it is not able to say what it is and all that one, handling it and all that one. Nothing more than that, it has got only a kind of an experience, a kind of an awareness, which cannot be conveyed by means of language. Or the dumb people, they give the example of the dumb people. They don't hear and understand what you say about a thing. If you say that it is a pencil, well, I don't think that they can hear. Probably in the initial stages, later on, I do not know how they develop the various powers. So, it exists like what? Like some object for the dumb people or for the children. And this at the time of the Nirvikalpaka, it has no particularity, no generality. So there is such a thing called Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha, but more than that we can't say. There is nothing particular or specific, nothing general in that one, and you cannot even speak about it Such is the state which may be called nirvikalpaka. Because knowledge will arise only with the language. The two go together. Some language should be there. That means it belongs to the pre-judgment state, non-relational perception. Yes, you can say. It is a pre-judgment state, you can say, because there is no language at the time, accepting that the explanation is given a little differently. If there is no language, there is no truth value. And they don't say that it be inferred from savikalpaka, nirvikalpaka is inferred from the savikalpaka. They don't go into the details. Nirvikalpaka, then savikalpaka. And the difference between the Nyayika and the Mimamsaka is that the difference between nirvikalpaka and savikalpaka, the difference is one of kind. Here, for the Mimamsaka, the difference is only one of degree. That's all. They make such a distinction, not one of kind. Nirvikalpaka is one kind and savikalpaka another kind, the Nyayika would say. That's why he says we don't have direct access to nirvikalpaka, we have to infer it and all that one. These people, they don't say that one like that. The Advaitian substantially would go with the Nyayika. Substantially go with the Nyayika. But there is no hard and fast rule that the order should be only nirvikalpaka and then savikalpaka. In most cases it is. But the Advaitian claims that from savikalpaka also we can come to nirvikalpaka. It is not just one way all the time. Maybe it is one way most of the time in the traffic. So you can say by and large that there is nirvikalpaka pratyaksha, then there is savikalpaka pratyaksha. That sequence can be accepted. But the Advaitian tells the Nyayika, be prepared for the other one also. From savikalpaka, I can also show that we can come to nirvikalpaka. That is the special contribution by the Advaitian. How? Consider the classic case of Devadatta. Devadatta. Because the classical examples like rope and snake come again and again. Without much strain, the teacher who explains the whole thing can handle it because the example is readily available with its richness. No ordinary example, an example with richness. I saw Devadatta in a particular place at a particular time, in a particular situation, space, time and context. I have given 3 conditioning factors when I saw Devadatta, this person. Space, place, time and a context, situation. And then subsequently it so happened, I met him. I could easily identify him, even though I meet him after a long time, in a different place, and also a totally different context. So space, time, context varied. But the individual is the same individual. Maybe he is a little grown up, but still I can identify. Oh, you are Devadatta. You are that Devadatta. You are that Devadatta. He is that Devadatta. Swayam Devadatta. Swayam. But look at this example. Devadatta, I saw Devadatta in a particular place, time and a context. Devadatta as conditioned by PTC. You understand PTC? Place, time, context. Supposing there is more than one Devadatta, and you ask me, sir, which Devadatta? We have two Devadattas. I say that Devadatta conditioned by PTC. Another Devadatta might have been conditioned by XYZ. Another place, another time, another context. Now, next time when I see him, the same Devadatta, it is not in the same context, time and place. Let me say XYZ. But one element has remained the same, that is Devadatta. Even though places are different, time factors are different, contexts are different, but it is the same Devadatta. Swayam Devadatta. That Devadatta. Now, when you make a state Devadatta in a particular place, time and context, it is a Savikalpaka Pratyaksha state. When you talk about Devadatta, bare identity of Devadatta, excluding place and time and context, you are concerned only with the identity of Devadatta, nothing else. You are not even concerned with the size of the body. He was thin, now thick, and all that. The bare Devadatta, the person who has the name Devadatta. It is a Nirvikalpaka Pratyaksha. It is on this model that we are going to interpret the Mahavakya, Tattvamasi. What we get would be a unitary statement, unitary idea, Nirvikalpaka idea. From the Savikalpaka, we can also pass on to Nirvikalpaka. We are following my argument. It's a very crucial argument. Why do you say this is Savikalpaka? The object seen is seen with definite features, identifiable features. A particular place, that place I saw him, in the veranda of my university department. Time, as I was coming out to make lecture class. Context, well, he was standing with some others. I got a very vivid recollection of the situation when I saw him. Now when I see him in a different place, different time, different context, but still I identify. How do I identify? Excluding all the differentiating factors. What remains is the person as person, nothing more. Now the Advaita says this is Nirvikalpaka, Vikalpa Ragita Pratyaksha, Vikalpa Sunya Pratyaksha. Why do you hesitate to call it Nirvikalpaka? So, most of the time we move from Nirvikalpaka to Savikalpaka. That is not a big issue. But what the Advaita insists in the present context is that it is also possible for us. In fact, in our life, situation is like that. That is very trivial. Nothing new to be reported by the Nyaya. Psychologists say that there is initial sensation, mere sensation. They make a distinction between sensation and perception in psychology. Not the same thing, but what you are talking about. If you read a textbook of psychology, they will tell you sensation plus interpretation is equal to perception. Not mere sensation is perception. Sensation should be subject to scrutiny, examination, analysis, and identify it as such and such. You give meaning to that by interpretation. Sensation plus interpretation, giving suitable meaning, is equal to, it becomes perception. They have got a definite connotation of perception. Similarly here, when the Nyaya speaks about initial awareness and then subsequently you identify and say it is a Vikalpaka, you accept it, it's all right. and sensation and perception, they are not the prerogatives of only the psychologists. There is a common area. Even though the psychologists always quarrel with us. Now, today they will not allow me to study psychology. They will come to my discipline. Even though psychology was taught by philosophy teachers. Accepting experimental psychology, theoretical psychology we can teach, anybody can teach. It doesn't require special lab knowledge, experimental knowledge to teach the theory of, it is human, if we are concerned with the human. Human, I am talking about human psychology. Human adult psychology, not even children's psychology, child psychology. So the Advaita says that, look, this is what happens in our life. This is the message. And Nyaya doesn't give a message, though he is our initial teacher. We undergo the training with him, we accept him as my teacher. And here is a big message that Advaita has got to convey. In our life, all the time, we are moving in a world of distinctions of various kinds. Our knowledge, not only perception, our total knowledge is savikalpaka knowledge. And our endeavor is to arrive at that great thing called a nirvikalpaka situation, nirvikalpaka understanding, nirvikalpaka knowledge. It is quite possible we have it in our day-to-day life, like as we see in the case of Devadatta, Swayam Devadatta. And I noticed you. Just allow me to complete my thought. I will come to you. I said yes. And if we can just move along those directions, I think that is, when we study logic, epistemology, it must also convey a message and a lesson to us. That is the importance. This other kind of a movement from savikalpaka to nirvikalpaka. Svetaketu was in the savikalpaka stage when he was addressed by his father Uddalaka. As if it is not enough to tell him once this Mahavakya, Tattvamasi, he went on repeating 9 times. As our modern children, when we send them by the school, don't go on telling repeatedly. As the train moves, the father says, remember carefully what I told you. He doesn't look at his father because he is ashamed. பக்கத்தில் எல்லாரும் உட்காந்துருக்கா போங்களேன்ப்பா நீங்க ட்ரெயினோடு நடந்து வராங்க நீங்க கீழே விழுந்துட போற அட்வைஸ் பண்றான் இதே ஐ கேன் மேனேஜ் இல்லப்பா but the father Uddalaka tells Svetaketu not once 9 times, you are that, you are that. Context will vary slightly as the train compartment moves from the beginning of the platform till the end of the platform. It is slow moving train, doesn't catch up immediately. That is the message. Then he realizes, I am that Brahman. How long it has taken. Even for Svetaketu. He returned, we are told in the Upanishad, he went to the formal study, about 21 years he returned. The collar தூக்கிட்டு வரான ஸ்டைலா அப்பா கூட்டாக்கு வரேன்ப்பா அப்படிங்கிறானா. The father could notice all the features of a youth, a rebellious youth or something like எல்லாம் தெரியும் அவனுக்கு. Yeah, and then the father asked him the question, did you know what you should know? Have you studied with your teacher? He's told you? No. And why? Probably the teacher himself did not know. He didn't teach me. I am speaking the truth. He didn't teach me. Then all right, I will teach you. Then the formal instruction between the father and the son takes place. The father plays the role of the teacher, and then a long chapter in which, unlike other Mahavakyas, this Mahavakya is repeated 9 times because of the great significance, because of the time factor taken with different illustrations to convey the truth. Yes. Yeah, you complicate it. Yeah, we'll be having initial difficulty. I really appreciate, because so far I have been teaching this for many years and nobody raised. Probably that is the advantage of having some maturity in the class, and then if you, yes, that will be a problem. But how is it that its parents distinguish the twins? For others it's difficult. Imagine, because my perception is always short, my eyes are short, I might have noticed a big mole on his right cheek. It was so prominent. It's not necessary that the twins, both of them, should have a big mole on the right side. Maybe. It was so prominent that it caught my attention. Okay?
You can tell from the eyes.
Huh?
You can tell it from the eyes.
Yeah, maybe. For me also, sometimes I will tell my Siddhi, ellarkum Siddhi Lakshmi, kannu konjam squint irukku pathiya, Asinukku kannu konjam squint irukku, idhaan vela ungalku. My grandchildren will protest, Tata, you don't have any other business. I love Unumila, it's perfect, yeah, all right. I say, look at the advertisement particularly, the 7-Up or anything, you can see it's slight difference, I say.
Did Hume translate the Upanishad?
Huh?
Did Hume translate the Upanishad?
That is a different Hume,
Or a different Hume?
not our David Hume. Fortunately for us, he would not have translated. But he wrote History of England, several volumes, which is still, oh, you should have known History of England by David Hume. Several volumes considered to be the best English literature.
That is a different Hume.
That is David Hume, the skeptic Hume, not the man who translated our Upanishads. He is almost a little, your contemporary, a little earlier. No. But that is Hume, empiricist. I don't remember the initials of this Hume. I know the name, but that is David Hume. Anything?
So if I have not recognized Devadatta after 10 years, then I can say it is a nirvikalpaka pratyaksha. But at the moment I have identified him as so and so,
Yeah, see, you must take the essentials in the example.
then the definitions get altered.
No, where I am able to identify. Otherwise, I can just go as if I have not seen him. In case I identify, that is the condition understood. Supposing I don't identify, just to go on. Very often we identify, unless it is not the lapse of so many years. Not the lapse of so many years. Even within a few months. Let me tell you something. I would like to be more autobiographical sometimes. Because you will remember me very well, and I could also convey the message. Because he has raised an issue. Myself with my brother and our entire family, he was not married. We went to Tiruchendur, stayed there as doing tapas for about 28 days. My mother, my wife, my children, and my brother Venkatraman, who is here. Somebody said, you better go and stay there. And you should not come out of the temple premises. So the premises begin with a temple, a Vinayakar temple. Thundugai Vinayakar is called. Thundugai Vinayakar. A person will put you, urging you to go in the right path. Thundugai Vinayakar was there. So we stayed there for about 28 days. Taking Palkuram, Abhishekam and all that one. And we would sleep in the, take bath in the ocean 5 times, 6 times, and then sleep, and the same dhoti and underwear and angavastram 1 or 2 with my bag. We would sleep there, and during lunch we will have that கட்டி சாதம் கோயிலில் கொடுப்பா, வித் தயிர் சாப்பிட்றது, உப்பு எதுவும் கிடையாது, salt, nothing is salt. And then we grew weird, and then I told them there should not be any communication addressed to me or to any of us. We remain isolated, no letter, nothing of the sort. Situation was so congenial. I was going weird, not she so much. Then we went to Kanyakumari and we did Pushpanjali to the goddess. And then somebody came to me, sir, you look like Dr. Balasubramanian. Are you his brother? I said, no, I am same Balasubramanian, the teacher. So he had some, Dari preserve chintrikara. Who are you? Are you Balasubramanian? It's quite possible. I hope that after 5 years, 10 years, when I see you, assuming that I live for another 10 years, I make an assumption. I can identify you. I hope to identify you. See, when we give an example, Swamiji, you must always take it that given that necessary conditions and all that situation should be there. Then you say, this is the Advaita-vedanta.
But sir, how about Devadatta if he does plastic surgery?
What is that? Practical? Plastic surgery. What I said, Swamiji, is equally applicable to you. If there may be some kind of disfigurement in the external appearance of the person, I say disfigurement in the external appearance of the person, maybe initially some difficulty, I may hesitate. Sometimes after hesitation may ask, did you happen to study here? Did I happen to know you? But very often my brother passes for me. All that is, in the normal situation, don't make the situation abnormal.
So what was the purpose of the tapasya?
Huh?
What was the purpose of the tapasya?
We are going to meet in the satsang. They were asking, what do you do in satsang? So some questions are very informal, personal, autobiographical, and we share many things which we will not be able to do. But sometimes I give the examples so that it will go straight into your mind. So like that, if I could be identified, why not the Devadatta? Time ಆಯ್ತಾ? Time ಆಯ್ತಾ? 9:15? Okay. So, one or two points just I will stop. So this is the story. This is only the preliminary one, what I said about the Nyayika. It is to take us to the Advaita and how, apart from the conventional way from Nirvikalpaka to Savikalpaka, the Advaitin is able to argue and show how we can also proceed from Savikalpaka to Nirvikalpaka. And I gave the example, I applied the example to the case of the Mahavakya, Swetaketu, and Swetaketu with Savikalpaka knowledge and then attains the Jnana Tattva Jnana. So, it is quite possible also to have the reverse movement. That is more important. This is mundane, ordinary. But we should have a training, that's why we listen to the Nyayika. Then there is one more, Pratyabhigya or recognition, which is, as you say, recognition. It is naturally different from memory, smriti. Here, unlike smriti, the vyakti or the individual, the person concerned should be there for you to see and recognize. I see, recognize you. But smriti is generated by the samskaras or the recollection of the past experience. You have studied a lot and of all the samskaras and all that one. So I don't need, just to say recognition. The most important thing for us is Nirvikalpaka point of view, and then its practical application, the message of Advaita. I will stop here. then I have to take up Anumana. I will be very fast because I take it that you are so familiar with Vyapti of different kinds and all that one. But I will present it from the point of view of a philosopher, and we do what we do, and then how we construct the argument and all that one. Have you dealt with the Parartha and Swartha and all that one? You will do that one. If you are fast, anyhow, repetition is always necessary. It will help them. இவ்வளவு தூரம் பாடம் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கோம், அப்படி இருந்தா கூட படிக்கிறது போறதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஒரு ரிஹர்சல் பண்ணிக்க வேண்டியிருக்கு. எந்த ஐடியா சொல்ல ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சொல்லணும், அது செகண்ட். We've been doing that one, but still we don't want to go with an empty mind. We order our ideas in our mind and then say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Already there is a drill. That drill is excellent because we do an excellent drill because we have been doing that, not for the first time. Several times we have done, but still, yeah, mental rehearsal is necessary.